podcast.
What's up, guys?
I'm with, I'm with my man's Maximus and
And I'm with my man MG. How are you, brother?
Magic, the Magi.
Yeah.
It seems like we
How are
need a
you?
bit of magic now at this point in time of the season.
A
We have
bit.
just come out of a loss, FA Cup loss against Southampton.
Yeah.
Actually, to be honest with you, man, after that loss, I don't even know what to say anymore to defend these boys, you know. But honestly speaking, I don't think it's a big cup. But right now, because of how long it's been since we've won any trophies, I would have still been happy with an FA Cup as part
Okay.
of the trophy cabinet that we're trying to add to the season. You know.
Okay. I came into this stream already unhappy. Don't make me more unhappy with statements like that. Because when we lost the first one against Carabao, what the difference 2 weeks makes? When we lost the first cup against Carabao, I started hearing some people saying, "Nah, well, the Carabao was the smallest of the four cups we were going." And I was like, what? We were going for the quadruple. Shut up with that. We were going for history. So it felt like a
Exactly.
bit of a cop out when people said that. And and but whatever at that stage. But to hear you saying it now after we lose the FA Cup, I won't accept it.
No.
I won't accept it.
What
I
do you
wanted FA Cup.
what do you think
I
I'm
wanted
saying?
FA Cup.
Maybe we must get that clear. What do you actually think I'm saying?
I don't know. It felt like you were saying it's not that big a cup. The league is bigger, which it is. The Champions League is bigger, which it is. But I
Yeah.
wanted it
So
all.
so so I wanted it all as well, Max. In fact, why I started this conversation by saying is that I don't know how to defend these boys anymore is because since I've started making videos and we've been posting this videos on this podcast, I've been singing the quadruple, and then previously now before we even played against Southampton, I've been saying the treble. So why I said that I don't even know how to defend these guys is because they're making me now even start sounding like a joker because I claim quadruple and then second I claim treble and we're already very quickly out of those competitions, those two, the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup. So for me, to be honest with you, I don't think Mikel prioritized that FA Cup in his approach for it, and for that, that's the only reason I'd even say that okay, fine, um, it's probably not of that importance to him. He's probably mainly looking at the Premier League and the Champions League at this particular time. You know.
Yeah, you know what? Let's start. I think out of all the stuff, a good place to start would be talking about Mikel, because I mean, it all boils down to him. When we lose, he steps on the front and says, "I will take responsibility for this," right? Because if I could, he's lucky I'm in Africa. Because if I could, I would go to his door with a machete in hand and knock politely and say, Mikel, just please open the door. I just want to talk. I just need to ask a few questions. I just need to ask a few questions because there's some stuff that you do that I don't understand. Okay. Mikel, before I go on my rant, let me start and say this. I still think he's an incredible coach, right? But you
Hmm.
know that saying, there's a thin line between insanity and genius. You
Yeah.
heard that?
Yeah.
That's
Of course.
Mikel for me. He's there's I can categorically some of the strategy call him a genius, and then there's some retarded stuff he does that I don't know what to do with. Um, uh, I'll start with this, right? Let's start with his rotation policy. We've talked about his rotation policy for a long time and like his lack of rotation, right?
Yeah.
Um, which I've never understood. And then when he decides to rotate, what? Rotate everything all at once. But you do it at the business end of things, right? Yeah.
Hmm.
You're going to rotate early in the competition. Now you're waiting until we're in the quarters and semis and stuff, and then you overhaul the whole team, right? So what kind of rotation policy is that? Rotate, keep some of the main guys, and remove one or two, right? He flipped the whole squad. Okay, make it make sense, bruh. Especially because it's happening at the business end. When he was not rotating earlier, I was frustrated because like I felt like he's gonna injure the players.
Yeah,
But
look,
now we're at a part of the season where it's like, listen, now we play them until the wheels fall off
look,
because
look.
wow,
The last stream we did together, Max, we went over the how jam packed the fixtures are this month. I don't
yeah,
blame him.
yeah.
I don't blame him. Like the fixtures this month are ridiculous, Max. And it's one after the other. We're already playing tomorrow after coming already from a loss over the weekend on a Saturday, and we're already playing tomorrow on a Tuesday. And then we're playing
Yeah.
against Bournemouth on a Saturday. Like they way too close to each other, you know?
Look, the fixtures, I agree with that. Rotation was absolutely necessary, but it's a
Mm,
complete overhaul, which I have trouble with. You
mm.
when certain players play together, often they develop an understanding, a chemistry. But now, when you throw in a whole new batch, individually they could be good players, but there's also just sorry, there's chemistry that they don't have it because they don't have that playing time together. So I'm not saying he should not have rotated. I'm saying do it in moderation. Keep some of the stars on, take some of the guys out. Don't go whoop, the whole team. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's the one Mikel thing I want to talk about. The other one is he's stubborn.
So when you say whoop the whole team, um, which players are you talking about? You're talking about you can't talk about Rice and Zubimendi. We've played those guys
Why?
way too much. We played them
Choose
way
one
too
of them.
much. We
Choose
played
one of them. Choose one of them.
Yeah, but we played them too much. Look, what I respect about what he did is at least played Gabriel. If you look at what happened on during the international break, Gabriel was even sent home because there were possible injury concerns, and now it's really become an injury concern apparently, right? He tried to at least have some sort of control experience at the back, right?
Okay. Okay.
Nordgaard has shown that he stepped up in previous games, right? And is
No
shown to
God
be
is supposed
very
to not.
reliable. But
Yes, he has.
but in this particular game, I won't lie, like the whole team just didn't really seem up for it, besides Max Downman.
Besides Max Diamond, I was gonna we'll have a max portion because that's another one me and you are gonna fight about. But while we're still on Ateta, right?
Mm.
Um uh Kepa, playing Kepa almost felt like a defiant stance. It almost felt like him trying to prove a point because we all got on his back after the last game because he was at fault. Now, I'm not saying he was at fault necessarily for these goals, uh, but I still think one of the best keepers in the world, i.e., Raya, might have saved one of those goals. Okay.
Yeah.
So with that, there's a stubbornness to him that I it frustrates me. Like I used to support Arteta blindly. I still support him, but not blindly. Now I have some questions for him. Let me tell you where I'm not yet. Okay, this is maybe where we fight, you and I, because there's some people that are already back on that Ateta out train, and I think if I recall correctly, you might have been one of those people that made that statement in the Arsenal group. That's
Mm-hmm.
madness. That's madness. I'll tell you why. Uh, and let me tell you why I think it's complete madness. Sorry, man. I'm actually a little bit ill. I didn't But I was not gonna do this stream because I don't want people thinking that when we lose, I don't come out and answer, right? But Ateta, Ateta, firstly, the Ateta out thing doesn't make sense to me because a um, if it's gonna be Ateta out, I always need you to provide who you might replace him with. The only person that people tend to bring up is Fabregas. Really, it's one of the names I hear a lot. And how are you gonna replace a guy who you're saying is not winning you trophies with a guy who hasn't won any trophies? That's madness to me. Two, sometimes I think we have a little bit of lack of.
Um,
Uh,
didn't
hmm?
didn't Fabregas win in the previous in the league that he got because he's just recently got promoted to Serie A,
Como.
right?
Where did he
So
win?
for
Where did
to
he
get
win?
promoted, don't you have to win something in the previous? I mean, in the league below.
The league below. So you're gonna talk to me about a guy who won in some Sunday league? No, I need a guy who has played it, who has won something at the top level. I don't care about Sunday league. I don't play against Belgian leagues or
Yeah, but
non-real leagues.
Max, the same confidence that you're having on somebody who doesn't have experience or who didn't have experience until he obviously gained his experience with Arsenal. What makes you think that? I mean, why can't the same sort of confidence be practiced on
Well,
a new manager?
he was under the tutelage of arguably the best manager of all time. At least he's in that conversation. He worked directly under Pep for a long time. Here's an interesting fun fact that a lot of people might not be aware of. Even when Arteta was still a player, Pep used to call him and consult him on some things. So that is already indicative of Arteta has a footballing brain on him. Like that that was apparent even to Pep way before way before he started coaching, right? But here's the other thing. My issue with the regime change, right, is it takes time because what happens is a new manager comes in and then he finds the crop of players that's there, and he's like, yeah, these guys are good, maybe in an Ateta system, but they don't quite suit my style. So now we have to start reshuffling, selling players so that the coach has the players that he needs, right? And that whole reshuffle and reset button, it takes years. In the modern day climate, you've seen teams that are having to reshuffle. You know, we've been through it. We reshuffled, and look how long it's taken us to get back into a competitive situation. Manchester has been in the wilderness now for long. Chelsea's also now been reshuffling for quite some time. So I feel like we're way too close to and also the Arteta conversation, the Arteta out. The season's not over yet, okay? So I'll say this. If we come out of this season trophyless, completely trophyless, then we'll have to revisit this conversation because that's the bottom line. That's his KPIs to bring us trophies, right? Now, I'm upset that we've been knocked out back to back in two competitions, sure, right? But there is still two to play for. I still believe the league is ours to lose. Um, I won't lie, my confidence is down. It's in the dumps right now. My confidence is in the ICU unit. My confidence is not very high right now because we are showing a tendency to wobble right now at a time when City seems to be picking up some steam. So I'm a little bit that PTSD. Remember, before we got knocked out in the last dream that I did with you, I said, while the Carabao Cup is the smallest cup, it would be good for one will have some silverware, but it would be good for the morale, right? But the opposite is true. To get knocked out back to back in two competitions is horrific. Okay,
Mm.
it is absolutely horrific for confidence, horrific for morale. Hell, we're even fighting amongst ourselves about whether we should get rid of Arteta, right? So Arteta,
So
bottom line
imagine
is this.
what that also does to the players. You know.
Oh yeah. It goes throughout all the players. So now all that mentality stuff is really gonna be tested. All right. He says his players are mentally strong. We'll see. We'll see. And here's another thing about Arteta. I'm gonna need you to understand. That's why I need to have a conversation with Machete in hand. After we lose, obviously he takes responsibility, but he always says stuff like, "I really love my players. I love them now more than ever." Right?
Yeah.
And it's always confused me because after we win, he's very nonchalant. He's sort of, it gives a vibe of, yeah, just another day in the office. Everybody did what they're supposed to do, blah, blah, blah. I feel like when we lose, he talks about how he loves his players now more than ever. I'm like, what? How about you say something more that feels more honest? Okay, like look, today wasn't a great result. There are some players that didn't quite pull their weight. That's all I'll say about that for now. We'll have more serious discussions behind scenes. I will be throwing shoes at some people like Sir Alex Ferguson. It's not going to be nice for them, right? But he gives a. It feels like a lot. I love my players now more than ever. I don't know. So that's another thing. So I feel like he protects and coddles his players more and embraces them more after we lose. Where
Look,
where after we win,
I understand his approach, Max, and the reason why he has that sort of approach is that when you lose these sort of games, especially games that you're expected to win, like the Southampton game, you want, as a player, after knowing that you've just failed the fans the way that you have and everything, you want at least to believe that your manager still believes that you can still go all the way and do this. You understand? So for him, the last thing he needs to do is play on the consciousness of his players. You know, certain managers did that, like Jose Mourinho, where they were easy to point fingers and do. And like you said, Sir Alex Ferguson would say that, look, I'm gonna have a chat with these guys after this because I was not happy with how they performed. But you know, we are at such a fragile phase of our season where he hasn't done this yet with these players, and these players need to understand that this manager still has confidence in them in being able to do so. Do you understand? And
these
and
these players.
and and not just that, because he's got confidence in them to still do this, they will even want to play for him even more, knowing that they've just let everybody down, let the fans down, let him down, and he's still saying that he loves them even more. The only thing that comes into their minds after that is like, yes, we have to get it right for this guy. This guy has stuck his neck out for us, so we need to make sure
Yeah.
that we go out there and perform for this guy. You know?
Well, look, I'm from the corporal punishment era, so let me perhaps propose a different theory. Okay, I
Yeah.
think these guys need to understand that there's consequences. Okay, because I don't. Sometimes I need players to be like, "Ooh, if I don't pull my weight, I might lose my place in the starting lineup, or even worse, I might get sold." And we'll have a conversation about that, about players that need to, because I made a whole list here of people that need to leave my
One of
club.
them, I'm sure, is Gabriel Jesus, the
He's
ghost.
top of the list. Number
The
one.
ghost. Yeah,
He,
here
he,
I remember how fans have been making fun about Odegaard disappearing in matches, and previously we were also saying the same about Eze. But oh my
yeah.
gosh, did Jesus run into positions where he could not be passed to, where he could not be involved, just
Oh my goodness.
completely isolate himself out of the game? You know.
Uh, and Jesus is, you see, if you're a player who is not having a good game and whatever, and not even a starting lineup player, it's one thing. Jesus is top three, top four highest paid players at the club. Okay, so that's an expensive problem. So Jesus,
Apparently, he's
let me
getting more than Kai. So he's actually
yeah,
top. He's actually top two. Top
he's top
two.
two. So he's one of our highest paid players. So that's an expensive non-performing problem to have. Not to mention an expensive. Now he's a bench player. He's an expensive bench player
No,
that
he
can't
needs
be
to
relied
go.
upon.
He needs
He
to
needs
go.
to
We
go.
need to. We need to free those wages for more players to come in. You know what I mean? Um,
Absolutely,
yeah. No,
absolutely.
like
Um,
he's becoming. He's just an expensive guy to have on the team now. Like, and he must be enjoying it. I mean, this guy's been injured most of the time, and he's still getting paid, bro. He's
that's
still getting
another
paid.
problem.
Yes.
That's another problem. He's injured all the time. I heard someone say the best ability is availability. Okay, he's not available half the time, and
Yeah.
even when he is, He's not really available for the passes or the anything. He's deadwood. He's expensive deadwood. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, but also just lastly on Arteta, I think I really need him to be as enthusiastic as so. I'm not saying he should berate his players publicly, but he needs to send out for me. He needs to send out the feeling that listen, sorry guys, we did screw up. Some guys could have done better because also you can only blame him to a point because some of those misses that people are missing in there, nothing can you can put out all you can do is coach the players and put them out there. Martinelli has some misses that it's not Arteta's problem. That's a Martinelli. And so I just need him to just keep the same energy. After we win, I need him to do some cartwheels and sing some praises, man. Where's that Gunosaurus? We need that energy for when we win. I don't want to just see more expressive press conferences after we lose and coddling the players. I'm from the corporal punishment era, man. I need a manager that kicks boots at players like Sir Alex. Okay, doesn't care who you are. Who was it that he hit in the face with the? It was David Beckham.
Yeah.
Okay.
Look,
Um,
Max, what you're
mm,
saying as well is touching on a very fragile psychological thing. If Arteta had done this before
mhm.
and he had won a
Yeah.
Premier League or a major trophy, it'd be easier to come at the players like that and kick and what. But when you still yet to still achieve that with the players that and you haven't achieved that, you don't like players are also like they're like spoiled brats. Do you know what I mean? All it takes is just for one to be upset at the way that you came at him, and then it can cause so much toxicity in the in the change room. Do you understand?
So those players that if they get real talk, it breaks them. Then they'll get onto my list of players that need to leave. We don't need that. We
Yeah, but
need players that are accountable.
you wouldn't even be able to see who does that. You know what I mean? We're not even able to see like. But it's such an interesting season, man. It is such an interesting season because there's so many players. I don't even want to jump on Jesus himself, because only now we're seeing Jesus really like doing terribly. There was a phase where we thought Eze was doing terribly. This Saka is still going through a phase where we think he's doing terribly as well. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Trossard is also just, I don't know, he's just hit a bit of a slump as well. You know what I mean? So I don't want to pinpoint individuals. I feel like I don't know. I feel like there's something psychological happening in that change room or in that team that needs to be adjusted a bit, and we just need to go reset and going back to the team that we were in the first 20 games or 15 games of the season. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So so we'll see. Hopefully we win a trophy, and some of those things will get corrected. Right, will fix themselves.
yeah.
Um, but man,
But sorry, before you go on, but believe me when I tell you this as well. Once, if we can get a major trophy over the line this season, we're not gonna
mm,
like. I doubt we'll ever see any of this next season. We will what we're experiencing right now with these players. We are not going to see it at all because what's going to happen in the transfer window is that we're going to bring in new recruits now as well, right?
yeah,
And people are going to realize that shucks, okay, I didn't play my best last season and the team didn't need me, but they still managed to
mm,
win, which would
mm,
mean that I need to now show that I deserve the position and to be chosen for the starting lineup, which is definitely just going to bring out the best out of our players next season. But first, we need to get over that line.
yeah. So what are your confidence levels from zero to from the bottle factory to 10?
Bro, I won't lie. I'm between 5 and 6 now. Eh? I'm between 5 and 6 because, like you said, when the PTSD kicks in, we have seen like the confidence that City have built up in these last two matches, in their last two matches, right? We know that they can just go on a run now until the end of the season and literally win every single game, right?
Yeah, yeah. Like I have to take my words back. There was a time when I was saying that they're not going to do that, but now, I mean, they
Yeah,
steamrolled Liverpool, which we haven't managed to beat once. They put a good spanking on them,
yeah,
and the whole thing kind of scared me a little bit.
yeah.
Um,
So yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
so I think I was just checking your confidence level. But I still believe we should at least get the league. You know,
Yeah, look,
I mean,
like I said, it's 5-6, right?
mm,
But because of the performance that we had against Southampton now, right? That
mm,
sort of performance tells me that we could possibly still drop quite a bit of points in the Premier League, which is the way we're approaching it now is like, no, there's no possible way that we could possibly mess up for 3 games in a row or even for two two games in
mm.
the games left over because Bournemouth is quite a challenge. It's not a walkover team. Do you understand?
It's not a it's not.
Newcastle, if there's one thing that Newcastle would love, is always to get in the way of Arsenal's title chase, right? So we
It's
know
that
that
purpose as well.
Newcastle also coming are not going to be a walk in the park. You understand? So we've still got some very challenging games left in the thing, and for me to think that now we're just gonna collect 3 points in all of the remaining games, it's
Mm.
tough. It's really tough, especially after what I've just witnessed in the last two um, matches we've played. Do you understand? So
Yeah.
I think if we win against Sporting Lisbon tomorrow, or let me say when we win against Sporting Lisbon tomorrow away in Portugal, right?
Mm.
And we win against Bournemouth at home on
Mm.
in the weekend, then
Yeah.
I think the whole fan base is gonna completely forget about what just happened in the FA Cup, bro. They're gonna
Sure.
completely forget about what just happened in the FA Cup. Look, it's
Yeah.
not nice because we were all singing the quadruple, quadruple, quadruple. But to be honest with you,
Mm.
if we can just get those two games over the line, oh my gosh, like we'll literally be looking at the finish line like this, like we're right there.
Yeah.
We're right there
Yeah.
for the Premier League. But my bro, like I said to you, we are literally playing 5 games this month, jam packed like this. And I like to be honest with you, man. I something in me tells me that he wanted to drop that FA Cup, bro, because he just realized that we were just too cramped up with fixtures. It wouldn't have made any sense at all, Max, for us to be chasing two big cups like Champions League and this thing, and we're still got games where I mean, imagine if we had won this game in the FA Cup, we would have had City next. Oh my gosh. Do you know how much that's gonna take out of the players? Every time we face City, it's a game, bro. It's never an easy game or just or you know what I mean, or just a game where both teams don't give it their all. Do you know what I mean? So
So so Mr. Magic, this is why I struggle with that theory, right?
mm,
If we were going to uh talk that sacrificial stuff, it would have
mm,
been done early, just to burden the lessen the burden earlier, right? We cannot
mm.
go through this whole season. It's been busy. It's been and only to start making sacrifices now, so close to the finish line. I think
Okay,
yesterday, I think
but
yesterday was not according to the script.
no, but you know why I think it is, Max, is because I think he caught his wake up call from this thing, from the Carabao Cup. And then he
Yeah.
realized that, geez, okay, after the Carabao Cup, these guys have obviously still got so much to play for this season because they've been kicked out like badly out of the Champions League, and they still won the Premier League, and they
Mm.
still won cups. Do you understand? So he must have realized that, look, it's fine. They're going to be even fresher than us when we face them because they're not playing in Champions League anymore. Do you understand? They're
Mm.
going to come in at
Mm.
the game against us at the Etihad much fresher than us. We would have been coming from a, a game against Sporting, bro.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Well,
And not just any
mm.
game, a knockout game in the quarterfinals. So
Yeah,
we're
Simon
gonna
Kingsley
be,
stuff.
bro. We oh man, like if we're gonna throw everything at this Champions League, you better believe that we're gonna be prepared to drop points against that game at the Etihad against City. Believe me.
Okay. All right. Yeah, look, so look, going forward, I'm gonna have a bit more humility. I feel like every single time I've
Mhm.
gone, I've sounded overconfident. I've almost always paid paid for it. It almost feels like a curse. So I'm gonna say I hope we do well. I think the last
Mhm.
time I said, yeah, it's just Leverkusen. We almost lost, but we
Yeah,
drew. And what was the other game where I said it's just? I was very sure of the Carabao Cup situation because it's, and then
yeah,
we got knocked out. These last 2 weeks have been a big lesson in humility for me personally. So humbly, I hope our team performs
yeah.
well
Hey,
for the
bro,
remainder of the games.
we can only hope that they do their best. But check this out, Max. There's a topic I really want us to touch on and go into a bit here.
Okay.
If he's going in all in for this Champions League, do you
Yeah.
think that it'd be worth dropping just 3 points only against City, no other team in the Premier League, only against City when we go to the Etihad? Because we'd be thinking that Jesus, okay, our players are finished and tired from this fixture in the Champions League where we threw everything at Sporting, and now we have to come and throw everything at City. Like, oh man, like it's a lot to ask for in a very short space of time. You know what I mean?
Mr.
But
Magi, you're a very intelligent guy. Some of the stuff you say is so stupid it doesn't suit you. But let me humor you. Let me meet you
Mhm,
halfway. If we were going
mhm,
to drop 3 points, it would definitely not be against City. Okay, that's what they call a six-pointer. I would, if I was even to entertain that crazy talk, I would do
mhm,
it against another team. But City is the one game where I'll take the draw, but for us to lose 3 points and them to get it, it
mhm.
is a catastrophe. So I definitely wouldn't do it against City. Let me say that. I'm
Okay,
not I'm not into
okay.
dropping 3 points for fun, but if I was in that game, it would definitely not be about City.
So
Um,
so I'm gonna mention I'm coming with this sort of school of thought from, right? There's a guy in
okay,
our group, in our Arsenal WhatsApp group called Duze,
yeah,
right?
he's
Duze
one of the
was
City
like
players.
the reason why we could afford to not play well against Liverpool when we played them twice in the Premier League and didn't think. And City are playing so rubbish. And I'm like, okay, dude, where are you getting the the idea that okay, we haven't beaten Liverpool once this season, right? And
Yeah,
we haven't beaten City once this season, but yet you're so easy to criticize how rubbish they've been this season, and you're so quick to criticize how Liverpool have been rubbish as well. And to him, he was saying that no, it's about getting the small teams put away. And even if we don't get the full 3 points against the big teams, it's okay. It's about putting away the small teams. And then he said that Liverpool were also not putting the biggest demise to their season is because they were unable to put away the small teams, and
yeah,
hence probably City as well in some occasions, right?
and that's also been our problem in previous seasons. So there's definitely some legitimate to that school of thought and that line of reasoning, but I'm not surrendering a full 3 points against City. I'll take a draw.
Yeah,
I'll
look,
take a draw.
you speaking out of pride more than anything else, bro. I think we're at the stage now, Max, where it's, the manager is, he's looking at like, yo, we've got already one hand on this trophy. Like, we need to like if there's some sacrifices that need to be made just for us to get over the line and win this trophy, they will be made. But against who? I have no idea. But all I'm saying is that the way that the body language that we've seen from our players in the last two games, they
Mm-hmm.
they look, I don't know what it is. And you guys always keep making this point that these guys get paid so much money to play every single week, right?
Yes, they do.
But they look tired. They don't look there. What is it? Is it a mental thing, or is it
It's
is
a
it is
lack
it
of
physique?
rotation. It's a
Yeah.
lack of rotation. It's a lack of rotation. It's a lack of rotation.
But we rotated
Um,
now against Southampton. But what happened?
we did a complete overhaul. That was my point. I would have
No,
taken one or two guys out.
what you're saying doesn't make sense. You're contradicting yourself now, because like
Mm-mm,
whether we do
mm-mm.
an overhaul or not, Max, we were told at the beginning of this season that we've got one of the best teams in Europe, even with depth and everything. So when do we actually rely on those players to come in and do that?
Okay, you're bringing
And
me
and
to the
and and
next.
and and out of the players that played in the FA Cup, which players
Yeah.
haven't played before that were just thrown in the deep end and were expected to play? Every single player that was on that team has had proper game time already, in this half of the season.
Okay. Yeah. Everybody but no God. But okay. But
No, but
yesterday,
he played, bro. He's played in every FA Cup. He's played in every Carabao Cup as well. He just
look,
hasn't featured in Champions League or Premier League.
yeah. Bottom line is we still lost to a lower division team with our supposedly deep squad. So I had to have a look at it and be like, how deep and good is our squad really, right? Which leads me to the next thing I wanted to talk about. Where I think we have a busy summer ahead of us. Um, but let me start with the outgoings or the players that, in my view, thank you for their services, but they can leave now. Okay, we spoke about Jesus. He's the obvious first candidate. He's too injury prone. He's on very very high wages. Maybe if he's willing to take a salary cut, like and take like a quarter of what he's getting paid, he can stay. But Jesus is number one. Um, and then Martinelli. Okay. I feel like Martinelli has hit his ceiling. He's as good as he's going to be. Um, we got him for peanuts. I think we will get good value for him if we sold him. And I think we can upgrade it. See, I've also liked the Kvaratskhelia links that just won't go away. So if we were to sell Martinelli and get a Kvaratskhelia or somebody like this, that's an upgrade. We've leveled up in the team.
Absolutely, absolutely. But how realistic is that? Like a team like PSG, like my man, they also wanna keep challenging. Do you understand? And if they know that that's one of their best players, nah, there's no way they're gonna release that boy like that.
Well, money
And
talks.
yeah, remember,
Money talks.
and how much of a salary do you think he's already on there? Do you think that we're gonna just offer him the same salary when he comes here? Like, how long did we even take to have a player that was earning 300 a month? Like, I mean, a week, like Saka. It took us a
Well,
while,
look, look. I mean, when you sell Jesus, things become possible. You free up a 250,000 a week salary, which can go directly to this guy. So that's not what we don't have is money problem, right? I don't think that's a thing. But basically, I'll definitely sell Martinelli. I don't think he's. I think there's players out there that can be a higher level. Um,
So,
um,
so Trossard, what do you think about Trossard?
no, so of the two, so obviously I feel like the left is one of our weaker sides. So I had to
Yeah.
choose between the two, and of the two, I'd rather sell Martinelli.
Okay.
Okay, and then another one that's on the chopping block for me is Kai Havertz because he's also on very high salaries, and um, I'm not sure we're getting effective bang for our buck there. All right, he's not. He's obviously not a nailed on starter at this point. So for me to have like very, very high paid players that are not clinical, because he's not clinical, as he demonstrated yesterday, for me it's problematic. Okay. Especially when we've got young talent in the wings, from Hale End. I'd rather sell him while we still can still get some good value out of him. What are your views on
You know why
Cobra
I'm
Kai?
laughing, Max? Because you
Tell
were
me.
one of the biggest Kai Havertz cheerleaders like a season ago. You were like, oh my gosh, this guy is like, yeah, yeah, he's a true. And I kept saying, guys, me, I haven't seen enough from this guy to be convinced. I haven't seen
Well,
enough at all for me to like. Yes, he had a good run in towards the second part of the season last season,
you did.
um, but he struggled in the first half of the season as well because. But also, for me, I think I've seen it. I think I know where we always get it wrong with Kai. It's the position that we play him. Every time we play Kai in the midfield, I cringe so much because
Never,
I know that
never thought.
we never win those games for some reason. We just don't win
Agreed.
those games.
So we can agree that his best position would be striker. And what we're
Yeah,
not going to do
that's it.
is, I
That's
can't
it.
see us selling Gyökeres when we just got him.
No, I don't. But he can come in as a super sub then if we're gonna need another striker. But
Well,
If this Julian Alvarez link is true as well, oh my
you
gosh.
see, this is where I was going to go with this because you see, the sale of these players, they raise some money. So
Yeah.
the Julius Alvarez thing, which is a link that really excites me. But when you hear the price tag there, it's not a small one. So you
No,
have
it's
to raise money somehow. Sell Jesus, sell Havertz, sell Martinelli, and all of a sudden you've got that money.
yeah.
You've got
Remember, and these players will only want to come if we win something major this season. We can forget about trying to get that guy from PSG, forget about trying to get Julian Alvarez if we don't win something major this
if
season.
we don't win, there's a lot of big uncomfortable conversation. Even that Arteta out train, I might get on it. If we don't win, there's a friend of mine, Denzel in the group. He says one of his nephews has him saved in his phone as Uncle Second Place FC. Imagine that.
Yes,
If
yes.
if we don't win this season, that's what it means. He's a professional loser. Okay, and I'll have nothing else left to say to defend him. So
Mhm.
if we don't win, we'll have that conversation if that happens. But I really I don't want to, unless the universe hears me and I attract such an ugly thing. Okay. Another player that needs to leave, and humor me here, it's a controversial one, but it's Lewis Kelly, right? I feel like if we're not going to play him in midfield, where he's always played his whole career, he can go, right? Because at this point, we've got two very good players in that position, and he's really kind of surplus to requirements. First, and lately he hasn't been doing very well there. So either we move him to his natural position, in midfield, and if we're not
Mhm.
willing to do that, I think we can get some good value for him. What's your take?
Yeah. It's interesting you're saying that. You know what I noticed about, and I heard the commentators also say something about the move that Pep pulled. Mateus Nunes at City is playing left back. That's not
Yeah,
his natural position. They bought him from
yeah,
Wolves, him playing in the midfield. He's a very
yeah.
extremely creative player, but the reason apparently managers like Pep and Mikel push these guys to such positions like left back is because those positions also require players with a lot of versatility and that can always come in and be that extra man in the midfield and things like that. So I think when Arteta looked at someone like Lewis Kelly, he saw that in him to be like, you know what, this boy can prove to be a problem if he's versatile, where he comes in and cuts it into the midfield, which we did see against teams like Atletico at the beginning of the season. We saw it against many teams that this
Yeah,
boy,
yeah, for sure.
once he's given that
Mm.
freedom, he can play
Yeah,
very well from picking up the ball in the midfield. You know what I mean?
he can. I mean, even last season, he was absolutely tremendous. He was one of my favorite players. But
Yeah,
now something's happened and he's fallen off a cliff, at least defensively. Number one. But also for me, the fact that we brought in Hincapie. So
yeah,
he's now number three in that
yeah.
position. It's
I'll
Hincapie,
be
it's
I'll
Hincapie.
be honest with you, right? I just don't
Mm?
think I just don't think that the manager he feels like he's still a bit slightly rusty. There's still so many things that need to be polished about him. But I feel that Mikel is taking this league so serious that it's like, yo, this is not a time for us to try some of our experimental work. We just need to get over this line and get and win this
Yeah,
competition. And
yeah,
then
for
we can
sure.
think about bringing these boys in and trying to see how we can get them in next season once we've got the league title. Do you know what I mean? So
So
for me,
we can agree then Skelly is not gonna be playing this much this season.
no, he's not going to be playing this much this season unless there's an injury, right? But
Yeah,
there's the reason for that. And remember, we didn't just bring in Nwaneri last season because we felt like, I mean, was it the season last was it last season where we thrashed where he scored against City and we thrashed them 4-1 at the
that was
Emirates.
last season.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We only brought in Waneri because we were literally hit down by injuries. We had no choice. And the boy
yeah,
had to come in and step up, which is what would be
yeah,
expected of Miles Lewis Kelly, if you think. But that's why I hope these players as well, they don't take it personal. They need to understand that this manager, he is trying to play this in the most, even if it's the most boring type of way to win a league or playing football, but he wants to make sure that it's the safest way we can get over the line, and that means that
yeah,
not losing matches, not conceding too many
yeah,
goals, and making
yeah,
sure that the players that he knows for sure are going to play and give their 100% in these games, and making sure that that doesn't happen. He can only trust them for things like the Premier League and the big
yeah.
competitions. You know what I mean?
Skelly is not one of the guys that contributes positively to our not conceding goals. I'll say that.
Yeah, no, no,
Um,
he's shown, and maybe that's why. Because at the beginning of the season, the way he got cooked was at Bayern Munich, where they cooked him at the back, bro. Where you could see that yes, now they're even starting to
yeah,
attack from his
his
left,
position.
from his position, because they realize that there's a
Yeah.
weak link here. Defensively, of
So,
course.
I feel like bringing in Hincapie was telling to me. I
Yeah,
can understand having two players in every position, but that sale that purchase, it looked to me like it was curtains for Skelly. But we'll see. And one last player that has looked too far from his usual self. He's very slow, but he's been able to get away with it for a while. Is another one of my former favorites, Benny Blanco, Ben White. It might be time. What say
yeah. Look,
you?
yeah, look. The only excuse I've got for for Benny Blanco is he was coming from international duty, you know what I mean? And he
Mhm.
played, remember, he had a lot to prove to the English fans that had been booing him and stuff. So he went out there and played his heart out, and he even scored in for England and stuff. So there's a lot that he was taking on just already, just by his country booing him and
Yeah,
stuff. You know what I mean? And then now having to
yeah,
come to a very important game like this as well, and just play your heart out. Like I'll let this one slide just for this game, this previous game for Ben. You know what I mean? Because
yeah.
there are times as well where I've seen that, wow, okay, Ben, we could have the old Ben back when he does the overlaps and the
Overlapping.
crosses overlap, yeah,
Yeah,
and putting in the decent crosses into the box. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Which which
Okay.
which none of our our backs are even doing, even up to this point in time of the season. None of these guys
Okay.
are putting in good balls um, into the box for guys like Jokeris to come in and head it in. You know what I mean?
Okay. Well, look, the jury's out. These are just my short list of candidates.
Mm,
We can perhaps revisit it in the summer, also depending on who are able to bring in. Because what I don't want us to do is sell players when we don't have a replacement ready, right?
yeah.
But we'll revisit that stuff later. But now it's time to talk about somebody we talk about every episode, Max Dowman. You say this thing about preserving his legs. I don't want to hear it. I hate it. And I'll tell you why. He's not the first 16-year-old, okay? He's not the first 16-year-old to play at a high level. I'll go through some. Lamine Yamal, when he was at the Euros, helping Spain win the Euros,
He
scoring
was
goals, doing the most,
17. He was 17.
he was still in high school. He
He
was
was
after
yeah,
games.
but he was 17. There's a difference between
Fortunately,
16
okay,
and
okay, let me give you
17,
another one.
Max.
Let me give you another one. Rooney was 16 when he was playing for Everton and
Yes.
and eventually moved to Manchester United.
Yes,
He
but
was he
Rooney
was
wasn't
absolutely
also
prolific.
Rooney wasn't playing every single game as well at that age, Max. He would be brought
He was
in.
playing a lot.
He'd be brought in
Mhm.
as a super sub. Do you understand? He'd be brought in as a super sub, and it was enough for guys like Alex Ferguson to see that okay, this boy is some serious talent. Because every time he gets brought on, he's literally throwing everything he's got at these guys. So let's not think that guys like that, just because they started at the same age, that they were playing every single game in and out. No, it wasn't working like that. Like they were being brought in the last 20 minutes, which I think, yes, Arteta could do a bit more of with guys like Max. Maybe at least bring him in the, but there are certain games where Arteta doesn't bring him on at all, right?
At all. At
At
all.
all. But then there's also
Mm.
another issue that I need you to see here, Max, is that, and I mentioned this in the WhatsApp group as well, is that yes, fine, there's no excuse. We should be using our best players like Max and everything, but don't forget that every single player there that's playing against Max knows how young this guy is, and
So
they do not want to be dribbled and mocked by a 16-year-old on the field. So you best believe that there's a high chance and possibility that the tackles that they'll be putting on that boy are not going to be like easy, soft, whatever tackles, because they will just want to make sure that they're not mocked on the field. They take him out and take the ball out, which also puts him in danger of his legs being broken at a very young age. Do you understand?
do you know you sound like a girl dad? You're treating this guy like he's a fragile little flower, okay? He
No.
is he is one of the most exceptional talents in this team. In the last three
Mhm.
performances where he's
Mhm.
played, he
Okay.
has not been one of the standout. He has been
Okay.
the best player on
Okay.
the pitch.
Okay.
So
Max.
we're talking about he's 16. Okay, hold on, but he's 16. But we're
Mhm.
talking about what is looking like one of our best. He's probably, in my view, top three best attacking players we have. All
Okay.
right,
Okay.
top three
So.
guaranteed. And I'm gonna say one last thing before I let you carry on. I'm gonna
Mhm.
go back to my bold statement. Last season, at the start of the season, I actually said this guy is so good, he's going to force his way into the starting lineup. Then the injury happened. I'm back to the same place where I feel like this kid should be in the starting lineup.
Yeah.
The conversation I feel like we should be having is like, okay, for who? How do we accommodate? But yesterday when we needed something out the fire, guess who looked most likely to do it?
Max.
Max.
Yeah. Okay. So um actually, now I lost my train of thought.
So,
Um as
so throw him
okay.
in the fire. Throw him in the fire. If they kick him, they can get red cards. Or they can give away penalties. Um, I mean, and he play when he was
Okay, yeah.
playing where he was.
Sorry, this is the point I was trying to make actually.
Okay. All right.
Why do you think that we are not seeing the best of soccer this season?
I think I think it's something to do with not getting back to top speed, coming off of that horrific injury with the hamstring. That's
Okay.
my theory.
Okay. So why do you think he even had that injury, Max?
He was mercilessly
Huh?
he was terribly overplayed, terribly
Thank you.
overplayed.
Thank you. So this is what happens when you play a young player every single game in and out. Those injuries will catch up with him before he even reaches his peak years of a season, which are meant to be like 27. Do you understand?
Um,
Saka, I don't
yeah.
know if we'll ever
Mhm.
get to see the same Saka again. Do you understand? After this hectic injury that still seems like he's still recovering from. Do you understand? So now to think that if you remember Saka, we were playing him in every single competition, bro. We were
Listen,
overusing that boy, and that's why we still have love for him because we know that he carried us during the most darkest times, right?
look,
But to
yeah,
now want to repeat the same thing we did with Saka with Max, what
no,
makes you think that the results
no,
will be
no,
different?
no. No. It's not the same thing. Saka, I stand corrected. He now holds the most consecutive number of games for Arsenal. That was abuse. Okay, we worked him like a donkey, and we had no options. I'm not saying we must do that with Max, but he certainly needs to be getting more game time. And any game where Max doesn't play at least 30 minutes, it's madness. Okay, whether we're winning or whether we're losing, he's one of the best players, and he needs to get more miles in his thing. Maybe we might even start to see that, yeah, this kid is so good. We need to play him more often. But right now, I don't think he plays anywhere near enough. And he's dude, and I can go through a list. I made a whole list of guys who started at 16 and they didn't break. This is why I don't like this let's wrap him in cotton mentality. Aaron Lennon was 16 at Leeds when Spurs then bought him 2 years later and took when he turned 18 because they were like, yo, this guy is really good. Pele, the Brazilian, he won the World Cup at age 17. Okay, so he didn't. He can guarantee he didn't start playing at age 17. He'd already been proving himself at an earlier age. Like
Okay,
Max, I can tell you now, if Max between now, it's not too late. Between now and the end, if he gets more minutes,
mm,
firstly our performances will get better. Number one. So if
okay,
you're interested in making sure that
okay,
that we get some silverware, we play more Max, right? Because I
okay,
guarantee it comes with higher performance.
okay.
It
So
comes
wait,
with
okay.
higher performance.
So
And also, the one last thing,
mm,
it gives him. It would be nice, because it would give him a shot at getting selected for the World Cup. I don't think that's out of the question. This kid
yeah,
is
okay.
immensely, insanely talented.
I hear you, Max. Then the players that we spent 50,000, 50 million pounds on, like Madueke. What do we do with them? I mean, like, why do you feel that they need to hit the bench for Max when we spend so much money on them?
If we're running a meritocracy, yes, right. Sometimes you make some expensive mistakes. Um, um, who, who, who was one of our more what's his name? The Ivorian. Was it
Pepe,
Pele?
Pepe.
Pepe. Pepe was an expensive mistake. So you buy a player for a lot of money, but then somebody comes in off the script, that comes in from the youth system and turns out to be way better. What do? You keep playing the guy just because of the amount of money you spent on him, or do you play the best player?
Knowing
You play the best
Mikel,
player.
knowing Mikel, that's the reason why he never wanted to stop playing Kai, even in the first half of the season when he was first bought and he was rubbish, because he was feeling like this is the most expensive or highest paid player in this team. I cannot afford the board to see me making this guy bench because I've paid a lot of money. I've requested for this guy. They've paid a lot of money to bring this guy over into the team. I don't think Madueke was worth 50 mil, to be honest with you. I really don't think so. truly feel like that money could have gone elsewhere. It's not like we're that desperate for Madueke. You know what I mean? Like, yes, he could turn. He still has the potential if he polishes up to be a very good player. But I don't know. Hey, like, I'm not sure he's worth the money that he was bought for. To be honest with you,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not really convinced enough by Madueke. I've seen some glimpses of good, amazing talent when he, and it's so funny. I heard a guy called Lee Judges on Arsenal Fan TV saying, can someone tell Madueke that there's a line to go
There's
out.
a line.
There's
Yeah.
a line, because it just seems like he just keeps crossing it. When it's like, dude, you can't play outside. Why do you keep running so hard towards the line as if you won't go out? You know what I mean? Like, I
I think I saw that. Another funny thing I heard about Madueke, someone says, is like, that guy runs faster than he can think, you know?
yeah,
And
yeah.
so,
Like,
so, so, so he's got some exciting things about him, but he's no Max Dowman. You
no, it's
know,
not.
like, do you feel like Madueke is being overplayed? I'd be quite happy to see Max Dowman just get the minutes that Madueke is getting.
Yeah,
Madueke is
yeah.
not being overplayed, but he's getting a sure good amount of time to influence game and change situations. I would do that. I mean, let me give you one last 16-year-old that. Do you remember a guy called um, Walcott?
Yeah.
Walcott was 16 when he came into the game.
Yeah, but he didn't
Walcott,
play every game again, Max.
he
Wenger
didn't play
didn't put
every
him in every
game.
single
He,
game.
he
In
didn't play every
fact, he
game, but
used him. He used him more in the Carabao Cup, which is what we've always been using Max Downman in this whole season. We haven't not
yeah.
played Max Downman in the Carabao Cup. And Theo with Wenger always started in the Carabao Cup. He wasn't like being thrown into maybe in the last 10 minutes when we're winning a game, then Wenger would throw him in the Premier League. But Wenger didn't just throw Theo
But,
in there like that and recklessly,
but,
bro.
but, but, but look, you see, here's the caveat. The only similarity is that they were both 16. But there's just the issue of the immense talent that Max is, okay? Um, he is, I mean it when I say he's top three, top four at most. Um,
But we thought about
the
we
best
we, we
players.
we thought that about Theo when he first came as well, right?
He was we thought he had
We did.
exciting talent, but also and you could see potential. But right now,
Dude, we thought that Theo
okay,
was the next
let's
Henri.
play a game. Let's play a game. Tell me four players that are better than Max Dowman. I'll wait. Attacking
For,
players that we have in the squad right now. Tell me four.
I can't even name one
Oh
right
wait.
now, presently, who are playing
Wow.
better than Max Dowman. No, I can't name one.
You can't even come up with one. So it's hard for me to know that we're struggling to win some games, and we've got. I was saying top three to be modest, but I think this guy is one of the best we've got. Okay, so he just needs to get more time on account of that. Yeah, yeah, happening. Whenever I hear you say manage his career and manage, it makes me keep my phone. For those non-speak, no non-Sotho speaking, it makes me want to bite my phone. Okay, it makes me so angry. It's such a crazy notion that such an immense, or almost arguably, someone put it to me differently. By not playing him, we might be getting in the way of history because he gets in now, really starts to make a performance. This guy could be up for Ballon d'Or conversation in 2 years, the same way Lamine was 2 years from the time that he became a regular. And Max Darman, he's it's not the same conversation as with Skelly. Let's give him a chance. He's not necessarily the best out of the whole 11, but let's give him some time. Or Nwaneri, let's give him a chance. We are talking about the best player that we have, or one of, okay? So this is not a pity, give him a few minutes type situation.
No, I
It's
get you.
we
I get you.
need him. We need him to be a more threatening force. We need him. We need him.
Yeah.
Like if we had the luxury of Leeds and a bigger squad, but right now with what's going on right now, where we can't afford to drop points,
Yeah.
throw the kid in there, throw the
Yeah.
kid in
Look,
there.
no, no, I hear you, and I agree with you that okay, at games where our guys are not showing up, which they've shown in the last few games we've played, actually, we probably do need some fresh legs and some fresh talent like that that can come spark it up in the team and give something different, right?
Yeah,
We are running out of time, brother. So
yeah.
let's predict tomorrow's game against Sporting because it's away in Portugal. And who would you like to see playing? Who do you think will be fit to play? Because now there's real concerns about Gabriel being injured, right?
Okay. So I suspect that we did that big overhaul rotation in this last game in preparation for this game. I think it will be the usual. Raya. In fact, I'm so angry at Kepa. I'm actually ready to put him on that leave my club list. But I think it will be Raya. It will be Nkapia on the left. It will be centrally. I think we will play Mosquera if things not fit. It will be Mosquera and Saliba. It will
Mhm.
be. What's the situation with Timber again? Not fit.
Yeah, he was also had a bit of injury concern. I'm not sure if it is a calf or if it was
Hmm.
a hamstring. I'm not sure which one it was. But
Okay, if he's fit, it's him. But if not, I guess we're forced to go with Benny Blanco. And
mhm,
then the midfield, our usual workhorses, Zubi and Rice.
mhm.
Um,
Eze
uh,
apparently is training with the team right now, so that's
I
good
saw that. I
point.
saw that as well. That he's back to training, but I doubt that we throw him in immediately.
So you
But
think
the
you go
captain
with
is back,
Odegaard?
so I think Odegaard.
Hmm.
I think we go Saka on the right as usual. Gyökeres, I think, will start up front, and then the left, it's since Martinelli played this last one, I think we'll go with Trossard. That's how I look. That's how I see us lining up tomorrow.
Okay, and how do you think we'll do?
Like I told you, I'm learning to be more modest. I hope we'll do well. I
Yeah, we
hope
saw
we'll do
what they
well.
did
I
to
hope we'll get the
we, s- we
results.
s- we saw what they did to Bordeaux when they were already a 3-0 deficit down. But I mean, we know that Bordeaux is not the strongest of teams. I mean, they're from Norway, but they still beat teams like Real Madrid and City in the early stages of the Champions League, and then for them to catch such a hiding as well at in Portugal. So the one thing that I do know about Portugal to go over there and play is that they've got some of the most hostile grounds ever.
France.
You
Yes.
know, and hence why we've also recently witnessed this incident with Vinny and Real Madrid and Benfica. You know,
Mm,
so
mm.
Portugal is not an easy place to go to,
Yeah,
and get 3 points or get a guaranteed win. You know, so I think it's a seriously big game for the boys. One not to definitely take lightly at all. You know,
yeah.
um,
That's,
and
that's,
and like
mm.
and sorry, and a decision has to be made. Are we prepared to go for the Premier League and the Champions League? Because if we do want to go for both, we need to understand that it's going to take a lot out of us to also go for the Champions League. Do you understand?
Yeah, yeah. I hope we go for both because I really, really want the Champions League. We've never
Mm.
done it before. But if I had to choose between the two of them, just given the situation, I'd prioritize the league because we've kind of got one hand on it. To start doing things like you were suggesting, we were sacrificing points in the league for the ambitious dream of the Champions League, that would be the most likely way to come out with nothing. Okay. So,
It's like I don't know, bro. Like, hey, yeah, no,
I
these are
just need
interesting
something. I just need
times.
some silverware. I just need some silverware so I can heal, so the team can heal. You'll notice
Mm,
I'm not wearing my regalia today. That is
mm,
because um, it's not because my shirts are dirty or anything. This is a statement of rebellion. This is I feel like I'm owed some silverware. Um, I feel like I love Arsenal very much, but they don't
mm.
love me back, and I
Yeah,
need some silverware. So
yeah.
just focus on the one that you've already got one hand on, which is the
No,
league.
absolutely. We're not looking on the merch here, right? You know, I released a video where somebody released a leak of the new season shirt. Nobody even commented once about the new shirt next season because it's like, well, look, dude, we're not focused on that right now. We are focused
Mhm.
on freaking trying to get some silverware this season. You know what I mean? Like we can't be
Yeah,
thinking about merch next season.
no, merch
When
is
we're not even,
vibes, man.
yeah.
Merch is vibes. And we've always had the nicest kits, but I don't know if I want to give them another cent of my money if they don't give me some
Until,
silverware back.
yep, exactly,
You
exactly.
know, it's not just my money that I give them. It's my time, man. We stay up late nights. Do they know we stay up late nights watching these guys? Guys have work tomorrow, and and now after the results don't go well, it's even hard to sleep because we're not playing over this movie in our heads. Sometimes I find myself having weird little fights with my girlfriend, and it's because I'm in a bad mood from these guys. You know, I
Yeah,
need a trophy.
no,
I
no,
need a
for
trophy.
sure. But
It's crazy we've gone from quadruple dream, but right now I'll take one, but I need
uh,
one.
absolutely, absolutely. So, hey, man, we unfortunately we have to come to the end of the stream, Max.
Yeah,
But I want to say good luck to the boys, and I
yeah,
hope you've managed to vent out all that anger that you were carrying there in your chest as well. And
yeah. Thank you. I think I got most of it out, and yeah, I
yeah,
wanted to wear shades today. I didn't want people to see I've been crying. Can I just quickly give you a list of some of the humiliation that we've had to deal with? Um, I saw one that said, I learned a new term. It's called arsenophobia, which apparently means the fear of winning trophies. Okay,
mm,
this is the abuse I'm getting now. So, do you remember that celebration where um, Gabriel headed the assist and Gyökeres scored it, and then uh, uh, it was this from Gyökeres and then this from Gabriel, and they used to call that like sort of Batman and Robin. Now they
mm,
say it's see no trophies, speak no trophies. Okay, and then there's the usual why argue with an Arsenal fan when you can just wait, you know?
mm.
And then I don't know if you saw the one where it's Arteta, uh, 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 Gyökeres, Saliba, and Saka all standing in a bottle factory. Okay, so these are the things that I need us to get silverware for because I don't want to deal with this nonsense. That's it.
Yeah,
I'm done. I'm done ranting.
yeah. No, we'll see, Max. We'll see if like I said, my confidence is sitting at 5 to 6 right now. I'm tired of defending and speaking so much and saying things to rival fans that end up just being egg in my face and things like that, you know. So it's fine. I will still, I'll humbly say that I'll still be very happy with just the Premier League. And if we get more like a Champions League, that's a bonus. That's a cherry on top. I'd love a Champions League as well because we've never won we won before. And funny, interesting is that when they interviewed Gabriel and Saliba and asked them about them, they both
Yeah,
said the Champions League because the club has never done that before. So for them, they
yeah,
feel like they really need to give the club a Champions League as well. So, my man, all I'm saying is that for us to go all the games in the Champions League unbeaten, it would be sad to see us crashing out now
yeah.
in the quarterfinals or even in the semifinals. It would be nice to see us go all the way to the final and win this thing because how do you go so well most of the Champions League and then right at the end you just crash out, you know?
Bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why also if you see the quicker we can wrap up the EPL, the more we can rest players at the end, at the business end of the Champions League and have fresh players going into the games there. So there's that. But anyway, let's see how tomorrow goes. And
Okay.
before we go, I just want to say a quick shout out and hi to the guys, all the guys that commented in the comments there.
Yeah,
There's a guy
straight up.
called Different Kid 115. Manchester United is better than Arsenal. This is the type of nonsense we have to deal with. Um,
There's a guy here called
that's an absolute.
Rezas. Rezas.
That's
I'm
an
not sure.
absolute.
Huh?
Mhm. Yeah, that's an absolute lie. But we do appreciate your participation.
Yeah.
Um, so thanks for that, guys. Thanks for those that are tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're new, and don't forget to hit the share button. And we'll pick it up again after the next game, win or lose. We will
Yep.
be here. But thank you, guys, and see you at the top.
We out.
We out. Salutations. Cheers.
Sharp.
Ciao.